I hate coming after somebody who really speaks English, so I'm already sorry for my shitty Danish English. Basically, just a few comments on where I'm from. It's a big problem for me to tell you that I'm from a festival because, you know, everything is a festival today. If two guys are playing pan flute in the train station tunnel, we have a world music festival. So this word has died. So I would like to say that we are a city. Basically, we are a city. It's the biggest temporary city in the world. We can build the 5th biggest city in Denmark, make it run for 10 days and take it down again, and then, what should we do next year? Quite funny. It's just placed beside. This is a picture from a region called Roskilde. Near the border, there's a little city called Roskilde with 60,000 inhabitants, and we built this city with a double inhabitants every year. So that's basically the purpose of it, and please erase festival if you should understand what I'm talking about. Basically, we are one of the biggest and oldest of this kind. It's the 42nd time next year, and there's a huge amount of money coming in, and everything is going very well. We have never been bigger, and we are working with music and a young audience. This shouldn't be possible. And if you look into the media, how they talk about us, we have died every year since we started. This year, we died very hard. I'm sorry. We will keep up running next year still. Basically, if I try to look into what is working, we have all the time focused on what would new generations love to have at our festival. Our biggest problem now is our main focus is rock and roll, and a lot of you have been growing up with rock and roll, so you hate us now because now we tell you you are not young anymore because you do not know any of the bands playing at Roskilde Festival. I'm sorry, it was not our purpose. We just focus on the young audience, and now every key person which love rock and roll hate us. Sorry, but that's part of the whole success, that we every year focus on what would be interesting for a young audience to do, to see, and please kill the old successes. If we need to build a big success, we have to make a frame, to make a space where the new success can grow. So when we have the biggest world music stage in the world on a festival, after 10 years of success, when it had its 10th anniversary and was a huge success, everybody applauded, we said, now it's time to do something else. It's very hard to do that in an organization, but I think it's extremely important if you should keep the pace in doing what we are doing. And then we are built on the shoulders of school teachers. All the volunteers who built our organization was mainly school teachers at first. So we are trained in not giving people what they want, but giving people what they think they should need. So when you would request music for the music program for Roskilde Festival next year, you can in October, we'll get 100,000, 150,000 requests. We will look at that, of course. And if we was another festival, we would book from the top, saying they need this, we will book that. We would never do that. We would listen, we would learn, and then we will give them something else that they didn't know that they were requesting. This is extremely important. Therefore, all headlining acts in Denmark hate Roskilde Festival, because when they're huge and big and want to play all festivals, they can never play Roskilde, because we need to do something else, alternatively, and learn people what we think is quite important, that they see of new music. This way of thinking, our organization, we do everywhere. Every part of activity, everything we are doing. Therefore, we also decide which kind of food can you buy at Roskilde Festival. We think the only real coffee is an ecological fair trade coffee. So of course, you cannot buy anything else. I hope it's good. I'm not drinking coffee. Then we have, from the start, has a success parameter that our middle age of our audience is 23. and has been since the start. So every year we change a third of our customers, attract the new ones, and say goodbye to the old ones. We have to do that, else we are not being a success. This is a total different model than most festivals are going to have. If you look at the festivals, every year their audience middle age will grow 1 or 2 years older. In Denmark, we have some of the biggest festivals in the world. Skanderborg Festival, some may know, is a quite big festival. This year, their middle age was 34, and last year it was 32. So it's growing heavily, and it's a great success because you come back, you find what you love, and you'll come back next year. And then, of course, it's good, and in 40 years' time, it's ending, because then the audience is dead, basically. And that is what is happening for most festivals, and it's a quite good success for a limited time period. Then, of course, we have to know our audience. We talk to the audience every fucking day. On Facebook now, it's quite easy. We have 100,000 followers, and they are talking every day to each other and to us. And it's very, very important to use a lot of energy and time in talking, meeting, understanding our audience. And it's so easy today because our audience love the festival. So every time we do some shitty work, and we do that often, they will tell us quite quickly on Facebook, and then we have an ability to correct it before the festival starts. We were not that lucky in the start, of course, but today we can use that. And to understand why we are able to construct and work into the needs of our customers, I think it's important to understand our organization. We are selling 80,000 tickets, but we have 30,000 employees. And the employees is, of course, a huge part of our customers as well. So if we are using our employees and working with them to create our product, we have a quite good success. And we have worked so hard now that people coming to Roskilde Festival to donate their time. We are not giving them anything. They are just coming to give what are their most precious thing, their spare time. How many of you would give 3 weeks of your holiday to something without your family? Just go there, donate 3 weeks. Every time I'm telling this story, people say, it's not true. What do you give them? You must pay them something. Oh, it's the ticket. That's why they're coming. Please calculate. The ticket is 1,700 Danish kroner. Would you give 3 weeks of your holiday for 1,700 Danish kroner? If you would, I would please talk to me. I have maybe another business where we can work that out. But basically, it's quite important to understand this why. Why are people using so much spare time to work in a product, in an organization like we are doing? And I think this can just be thinking, because we have been doing this, and we do not exactly know why it works. We are the biggest event doing this. We have not yet seen anyone we can compare and learn from, so this is guessing. So I could be totally wrong. So if you try to do the same, you could borrow my PowerPoints, but I'm not sure it will be working. But people before organization, I think it's a very, very key thing. Most leaders in a company like to make a framework which looks good on a PowerPoint. Every person and activity has to fit in a box, and they should have some, some kind of pronouncing with, it looks like there's a budget guy there, and there's a member personal guy there, and so on. Every time we try to make boxes before people, we have less energy and less love from the people working there. We have to focus on what will make you to use all your spare time to make Roskilde Festival. How should we organize that so it fits exactly you? So we have a Terra cell strategy in our organization. Every cell have to work on their own dynamics, on their own organization, and do it the way that fits them well. So the only ones who really had a shitty job is of course, the leadership of the company. Because you never know what is happening in one cell for another, but they are very strong, each one, and they work very, very hard, and they can work even if one cell is not performing, it's not a problem from the other cells in the organization. So I think that's quite important. And then, as we just heard, passion, love, feelings. To understand why it's possible to make Roskilde Festival work in this way, I think the most important thing is to know it's not rational. It's not rational from the workers, and it's not rational from the customers. I don't know if you have been to Roskilde Festival, but you would know that you pay a high ticket price to come to wait 3 days before we open up for the campsite. You wait outside, it's probably raining, there's no toilets. Then you can run to get the best spot to put up your tent, and then you can wait there for 4 days before the music starts. Why are you not coming just before the music starts? Why is that? I can't explain. Ask the audience, why would they do that? If we try rationally to understand that, we will make mistakes, mistakes, and mistakes. We started the festival at the campsite Sunday morning at 8 o'clock because we thought it's young people. They will be partying Saturday night, so they will come through the day. But now they are coming Thursday before we are starting up Sunday morning at 8. So basically, it's quite important to understand that passion is a very big part of it. And I think the key to understand this is music. Most of us are building ourselves with music until we are reaching the age of 30. After that age, we are listening to the same music that we have heard until then, mostly. So that's part of it. And then challenge, challenge, and challenge. Everybody at Roskilde Festival knows that next year we will do a little bit better, a little bit extra, a little bit special. If they say it's not possible, we would do it. So this passion and challenge is a key element. And then, of course, as a leadership, it's trust and expectation. Every time I tell this story about our organization to huge companies, they look for and ask for our quality control mechanism. How can I be sure that everybody is doing what they are told? 30,000 volunteers not able to meet doing this besides their job, do not work at the same place, only meet once a year at the festival where they do not have time to talk to each other. It's quite hard to make the quality control mechanism work. You have to trust them. Damn, you have to. And then you have to have a high expectation of what they're doing. And I think here we are back to the passion. I think today I have a shirt, a t-shirt, my underwear is Roskilde Festival, and I have my bag and my jacket as well. I'm feeling my identity is Roskilde Festival. So if somebody else using their spare time not doing a good job, if I'm not doing a good job, I'm not only performing bad, I'm doing a bad thing to someone else's identity. So I should say that many, many people are at Roskilde Festival looking after that everybody is doing a good job. And being in the leadership as I am, I just have to listen to hear if somebody is concerned that somebody else is not up to doing Roskilde Festival next year. So I think, of course, then appreciation. We have to say thank you, and thank you for people coming. Just they give the first hour, we have to say thank you. They never have to come. They just give us their time and energy and ability. As we see him the first time, we have to say thank you. I don't know how many of you doing that every day when you have some employees there. And thank you for coming. It's Monday morning. So lovely having you here. And then, when we have to do decisions, it's very, very important that we have clear decisions about what is the borders of what you're doing, but inside the borders, you have the free space. You decide. We have agreed that this is the borders of your work, but how you do it, how you make the results, it's your fucking challenge. And it's very, very important. If we try to control details, we are losing the energy, we are losing the enthusiasm, and people are not there anymore. And then a very strange thing in Denmark, meetings. We hate meetings. I know in Denmark we love meetings. The best thing is sit together, talk about something that somebody else should do. It's called companies. I think it's very, very important that if you come to a meeting and it's in your spare time, you should have less to do when you go home than before you entered the meeting. So we have tried to say that every time people are together, they have to do something, and they have to do more than they have expected to be done, so they go home and say, yes, now I'm free, I have no more spare time, but I have done everything, so I have no bad conscience. Try to do that at home. It's quite difficult. I have an example. One of the biggest tasks we have is to draw a huge technical map of the whole city we are building. Every person there has to draw their own parts. You could expect that if they are sitting home doing emails, try to coordinate what they should be drawing, that it takes 1.5 years to draw a map. A year after the festival ended, the map is basically finished. A huge problem every year. So now we just put 140 people in the same room for a weekend, and when they go out, they have to be finished drawing the map. And it functions, because they can do it when they're there. And some of them, they say, oh, please, I will have to go home and think about it. No, you are here, you have to make decisions, you have to come further, everybody else is here, we have to make it done now. I think this is very, very important. Let's see the timing. And then when we look into each person, why would they work? Why would they use their spare time? And I think that can be used in every company. We have to understand why is the person motivated. And what we discovered, and I think it's very common sense, is every person is motivated differently. But mainly, we try to treat them like they are motivated alike. If we can treat and meet the motivation on a personal level, we will get huge enthusiasm, huge work, huge energy and much love. And it's very, very difficult. But that's the challenge. So we have looked into and asked people, why do you give us all your spare time? And what is very interesting is they are making a lie. They are never telling us the real story. Why are you using 3 weeks of your holiday to make Roskilde Festival? I asked a woman who are making all our events working, and she was saying, it's because I get the access to a clean toilet during the festival. You will give 3 weeks to get access to a clean toilet? I think I will try to sell you something else. And it's not true. But it's very hard to say to somebody else, I'm giving all my time away, because then people are saying, are you a bit stupid? Why do you do that? So therefore we started to examine what's the real reason behind. And these 4 different types are we working with. Of course, people are having all parts of them, and it's a different level, and it's changing over time. It should not be easy. But of course, the social atmosphere is a big thing. Everybody using their spare time energy for something knows that the social atmosphere is so important. People who are only motivated by this are focusing on, it's not important what I'm doing, it's just important who I'm doing it with. And it's quite easy, having a good atmosphere. Then the professional ambition. A lot of people think that people who are doing something interesting in their work would also do that in their spare time. Very often, they would do something totally different, but in the same professional level as they would do their work. So if you ask them to do something, they are saying, never again what I'm doing normally. Of course, somebody can be in their life where they just love to do what they do in the work all the time. They should also be able to do that in their spare time. But I have an example. Marianne, she is booking our indie rock music. She's one of the best experts in indie rock from Europe and Japan in the world. Her daily work is to being a cancer specialist, focusing on children in the main hospital in Copenhagen. She is working on the total same level. She is researching, organizing data, and so on the same way that she's doing at her work, but she's extremely good in having control of these data when it's concerning music. And when you ask her to be able to go on punk clubs at night in Japan when she is there on some kind of doctor conference, she would gladly not sleep for a week to be able to see music that you would never love to hear. She booked one time, a punk band from Japan, which have decided never to listen to punk music, only read about it, and then play what music would come out of that. When you have listened to them more than 10 minutes, you have to go to the toilet because it was so heavy in your stomach you couldn't listen to anything else. So being able, of course, professional ambition, you know that from normal work, it's important. Then it's influence, all the people who want to decide what is happening. They are very important, but also very dangerous. They think that everybody else is motivated by the same thoughts than themselves. And the two first types are normally saying, could you please decide and hurry so we can start doing something instead of sitting talking about doing something. So it's quite common sense, but many people have processes where everybody has to sit and talk about everything, and 2/3 of the people there hate it. Why don't divide it so the people who love it can do it? And then, of course, back to this identity creating, which is very important. And we do that basically with these 4 things. We are not just in the entertaining business. We have very strong values. We are here to make a difference. When we are working at Roskilde Festival, we think that we can change the world. Of course, you know it's not possible, but we think we can. And that's the important thing. When we meet up, we are naive and really love to sit together and say, we can change the way that all young people will eat. They should eat ecological fair trade food. Of course, it's possible to change by Roskilde Festival. Of course, if you participated as clever people in our meeting, you will say, this is not true, why are you saying this? But we think we are making that difference. And that's lovely to work that way in your spare time. At the job, you can be rational and say, oh, it's not possible. In spare time, you can change the world. Then we have quite high ideals about what is possible and what is not. We think that people should meet at Roskilde Festival to get a better life, to play together. It's things that we are talking about. You are coming here to getting a better life. And we would look to you and say, it's true. Try to come to Roskilde Festival. I will give you a better life. And you will probably say, I would not love to stay in a tent. No, okay, we can find another solution, but still. And then we have amazing stories. I would love to. It would be much more fun than this, telling you stories about Roskilde Festival. One of the best stories we have is that we organize heavy rain weather every 6th or 7th year. Heavy rain weather, a lot of you are living in Copenhagen have now seen it this summer. Heavy rain weather is a way of meeting other people under circumstances that you do not normally know. And if you are working there, it's a way that something you have planned for more than a year will never succeed unless you're doing it totally different than you have planned. So therefore, rain is a very important part of Roskilde Festival and a part of our storytelling. In 2007, we got 100 millimeters of rain in one day, just before all the audience came into the stages. Lovely timing. Every food stall was closed because we have hygiene authorities looking at each food stall every day. Everything had to be cleaned for mud before it could open up. We succeeded, and now all the volunteers are asking new volunteers, were you at the festival in 2007? Oh, you're still a new one. And we make a t-shirt saying, I did all 8 days, meaning I was not home in between. So these stories, of course, is very important, and I will say to all of you, use the stories you have. I think everybody have huge and cool stories. It's easy with Roskilde Festival. And then we have music, mind-blowing music. And it's so hard for me in words to say this, so I thought it could be much better, if I can make this function, to show just a little pictures in the end. What is it that we are doing? And just have you wondering, if you could build a city as the double size of Roskilde, and it was your task to do that experiment every year, what kind of city would you build? The only tool you have would be passion and motivation. Please come and join us if you love. It's quite funny. Thank you.